Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got John Palermo.
I started what I was so involved or in tune with these people. I loved them. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
that's what they were. They were serious killers. You know what I mean? They were serious killers. So I don't know if it was me. Like I said, with the spots that bothered me, that maybe that was the final straw for them. But like I said, they had to kill Michael because I know for a fact, and they probably knew it too. He would have wanted revenge. You know what I mean? He would have started a war. That was the end of my career because two of my teachers and my stepfather never knew what I was doing. So that was the end of my mafia career because two of my teachers died. Who am I going to go to? Then finally, years go on, and my stepfather comes up to me. He goes, John, I says, yeah, what's up? He goes, listen, I need you to become a policeman in a certain town. Okay? That's one of his towns. You know, he's always known to be the West Side boss. I said, okay, well, you know what? Let me go part time and try it. You know, I'm
yeah,
not gonna make a commitment. I didn't make a commitment. I know exactly what he wanted because if I go full time as a copper, he he ain't gonna have me cross people. I mean, he ain't gonna make me the crossing guard. That's corruption. You know what I mean? He wanted me to overlook because then he became a bigger boss in the mafia, and he had a ton of stuff on his plate. You know, he had a ton of stuff on his plate. And my stepfather didn't trust the Italians because they were starting to rat people out. So you know what my stepfather did? He went joined forces with the black mafia in Chicago. The black mafia moved his dope. You know, they never planned nothing in front of me. I was around these guys. They never talked about it. But you could tell what the mafia was doing because things would be blurted out. Like, look at my stepfather. He's a big boss. I come walk in the house, and on the living room, this Mexican descent guy, okay? And then things started clicking with me. My stepfather goes, he wants to start a war with the Colombians. Then his brother got pinched with 10 kilos of. Now, what does that tell you? They're into, right?
yeah.
That's the kind of signs I used to get. You know what I mean? I knew what they're doing. I knew what they're into because things like that happen in front of me. You know, I just stuck to the crew. See, if people come after you, I'm out a gangster and do your show, and they say they know everyone and they know everything about it, they're full of crap.
What about James Marcello?
Now, Jimmy, now listen. There's a place in Illinois called Oprah. Not corrupted, I know. I call it the Deadly Triangle. You have Joey Ayupa lives in Oprah. You have Calabrese Senior live in Oakbrook. You have my stepfather, Tony Centraccio, live in Oakbrook. And right kitty corner for my stepfather was Jimmy Marcello. So, you know, I don't know
There,
these players. I heard them, of course, but I just stuck with our business. You know what I mean? I didn't get involved with other people. That's how it was. Like New York, you have five families. You had your boundaries. You're stuck, and you know what your crew is doing. You don't know what other crews. Unless something big happened was the paper or talked down the pipe. You know,
John No Nos DeFranzo.
I heard stories about those people, but I'm not going to sit here because I don't embellish. If I tell you don't know a person or what they're into, I will have no business to talk about it
What
because I'll
about
be
Joe
sad.
Lombardo?
Well, that was my stepfather's first guy. That he was a lieutenant for Joey. I didn't
What
like
did
Joey.
you didn't like him?
He was kind of to me. He was kind of goofy, stupid. That's why they call him a clown. You know.
Yeah,
I mean, Michael had a Halloween party at the Hoagie's Pub. That was just a restaurant in Chicago. And Joey Lombardo comes into the restaurant wearing a diaper, and that's it. Like a Depends diaper. Yeah, he was like that. He's a screwball. You know,
yeah. It's
I
crazy.
didn't care. I didn't like Joey Lombardo a lot. When I didn't like the guy. You know what I mean?
Let's
Just
talk about when they killed the Spilotro brothers and how you found out about them. killing the
Well,
Splats.
when I found out that Michael was dead, Annie called the house because there's Michael there. And right there, I knew he was dead. I knew he was dead. And Michael, leading up to this, he knew he was going to get whacked. Because a lot of these guys knew what was going to go down. You know what I mean? But they volunteered. And what kills me, listen to what kills me, Stacks. Now, you got Tony Spilazzo, okay? He flew from Las Vegas to Chicago, right?
Yeah.
He joined his brother because they said he was going to get married, which was a bullshit line. But, and now you got all these bosses that are in on this hit. Now, think about this. Why didn't the FBI break this killing up? Because you know Tony Spilazzo was being followed. You know these bosses were being followed. And I'm sure a couple of them followed him to the house where they were killed. And they knew who the people going in. Why did the FBI jump into this? Think about it, Stacks. You tell me none of these guys were being followed by the FBI? That's correct.
100%. They had to have
There you
been.
go. There you go, Stacks. Absolutely, they'll follow. And to me, I think maybe like Sam Giancana killing. You know, my belief about that one is I was too young about it. I met him as a little boy. But my belief is Sam Giancana was killed by the CIA. Well, let's look at this. Let's look at this. Sam Giancana was being watched. Okay, and so happens that the surveillance team was called off. Did you know that?
No.
The federals, for that night, they were called. That's only a car had power. But I don't think they had power enough to call off the surveillance team of the FBI. Do you? No.
No.
Now listen. Sam Giancana got killed. Now, supposedly, the gun was thrown out of the window. I don't know. A hitman would just throw a murder weapon near the crime scene, you know? So they pick up the weapon, and case closed. No investigation. There was a mafia hit. That's all they deemed it in. Now, who can do that? Who can call from surveillance team? How can they find a weapon so easy? And how can they close a case that easy? My suspicion is the government. We'll never find out. But my suspicion with all that evidence, it had to be the government. Because you know he was in with the CIA. That story, that's a long story. But he wasn't with the CIA. I think our government, the FBI, played dirty poker. You know what I mean? Like I ran into a few of them. You know what they were doing? They were putting a camera in my stepfather's abortion clinic above his desk, and his alarm would go off every Sunday. Now his client said, "Johnny, go over there, you know, sit around, see what's going on." So I sat there. I went back home, and I got a knock on my door, and I looked who it was. And these guys saw my face, and they ran. I knew they were FBI, you know. But anyways, he was putting his camera up on his above his desk, and evidently the hole wasn't big enough. He had a drop ceiling. So my father noticed this. You know what he did?
Oh.
He went up on his desk, he opened the drop ceiling, and he shut the camera off. And about 5 minutes later, they raided him. I mean, they raided the abortion clinic, FBI, DEA, they all did. They went to grab him. And unfortunately, he had a pistol. He had a gun in the clinic. So they gave him that chance.
Your stepfather died in 2001, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So now, do you remember when this family secrets trial kicked off and everything was
Yeah.
going on there?
You think because we were close to what Calabrese, you know what I mean? I grew
Yeah.
up in Frankie, you know, and talking about his dad would have killed him. That's what he's saying because of what he did, you know what I mean? About ratting out his dad. I doubt very highly his dad was. I knew Frank Health Sr. He might have punched him out. He would have killed him. Because like I said, he took $400,000 from his dad. That was the reason enough for Calabrese to kill a kid, you know what I mean?
100%.
He wouldn't have killed him. He wouldn't have killed him. I think Frank is telling that to save his ass, maybe, you know what I mean? From repercussion from other gangsters. I don't know.
Were
But
you shocked when you heard that Nick Calabrese cooperated?
I don't know his brother too much. I did meet him a few times. He didn't like being in the mafia, Nick. His brother forced him in, just like he forced his kids. And I know why he forced his family in, because there was no trust on the street no more. These kids were ratting each other out. You know, there was a big time where a lot of gangsters were cooperating with the government, you know.
Yeah.
And these old timers knew maybe I'll pull my family in, and then maybe I'll be sick for someone ratting me out, you know what I mean? That's why they were really dragged into this, you know, because there was lack of trust within the organization. And it did go on for a while, you know. Like my stepfather, he didn't trust them. So he joined up with the black mafia to move his dope, to do hits, you know what I mean? I know a couple of hits they did, but that's here or there, you know.
Do you think it's dangerous to get in for mob guys to get involved with other races and things like that?
No, Chicago wasn't like that. Chicago joined in, you know, they welcomed them in ethnic groups.